Hey guys, welcome back to the channel. So, over the last few weeks, I've been pretty critical of EA, especially with NHL 22, in just terms of their year-over-year innovation of the game. I think that NHL 22 is probably the worst NHL we've gotten in terms of what they added to the game from the prior year. In fact, this one got significantly worse because of the jump to the new-gen consoles and the 4 separate markets and player bases. It really took a hit because NHL just really doesn't have the player base to have 4 separate communities. They added X Factors, which is really just a regurgitation of a Madden feature that came out, and then all of the quality of life features like adding the players and certain overalls for specific sets is a nice change, but really they just eliminated the gold collectible system to replace it with the power-up collectible system. So while there is a few nice changes, really year over year, there really isn't anything added to Hockey Ultimate Team. However, the gameplay is significantly different from NHL 21, and I do need to give them props for that, and ESHL is quite different as well. But in terms of Hockey Ultimate Team, I would love to see some changes. Again, I've been very public about this on my streams and on Twitter, and I just want to give my thoughts and things because I like to hear from you guys when it comes to my opinions in this, because obviously we're all passionate about trying to make the game as best as possible. Now, I need to be very clear. It is not like the developers aren't trying. They have to develop a yearly game in about 8 months, and it's just extremely difficult to do, especially with the resources they have compared to other sports games. So without any further ado, guys, here are the biggest changes, not in any order, for Hockey Ultimate Team that I would love to see. All right, guys, so the first one, no matter what, the biggest change that needs to happen for NHL to improve is it needs to become cross-console. So this one I'm not even going to include, really, because this eliminates a lot of the issues that have now come because of the jump to next-gen. It really needs to happen very soon. If we go another year of no cross-console and Hockey Ultimate Team, I don't even want to really think about that because there is such a small player base that they can't add new modes. They can't really make drastic changes to how we play the game. And honestly, the matchmaking glitch where you basically just search and Division 1 players are getting matched up against Division 7 players really ruins the experience for pretty much everyone. I'm not going to lie. When my first game of Rivals gets matched up against someone that's in Division 5, I don't have any fun because obviously I'm a better player than that and I should be playing much higher opponents. So it's usually a boring game. And then for the other person, they're getting hammered by a top-end team and a player that's been playing just way too much. So it's a really bad experience overall. So that just needs to change. I mean, it allows for the market to improve drastically. Right now, there's about 5,000 cards on the market on Xbox entirely, which is super low. There's only 7,000 total cards on the market for PlayStation 5, and that's becoming the most played console, so it's just extremely alarming. So that adds a huge amount of improvements just overall. Even if they don't add anything else, new modes, no nothing, at least there's a giant player base, and then it allows them in the future to add in new modes and things like that. So without a doubt, cross-console is the most important thing that they need to add to the game. My next big change is to wipe out the economy in terms of how you actually acquire cards and collectibles and other things like that. It needs to become a simpler process. I'm going to do a lot of comparing to MLB's The Show because Diamond Dynasty is without a doubt the best Ultimate Team mode among any sports games, and they have one central economy, meaning that when you buy points, okay, in MLB, you don't buy points that you can use to buy packs, you buy coins. So let's pretend 12,000 points is now turned into, let's say for $120 Canadian, I get 200,000 coins. That is how it needs to be changed. And then with that, you can buy packs if you want, or you can go to the auction house and buy whatever card you want. That is a fundamental change that needs to happen because EA loves to add in new economies. But the other thing that's really lame and boring and kind of overdone now is how you actually acquire event items. So, for example, what I mean by changing the economy to just one central thing is that right now the economy isn't just coins, it's cards specifically. So if you go to like the collectible sets every event, right, and you're pulling cards, you know, every overall is technically an economy. Like 81 overall cards have a floor price because of what they are turned into sets and things like that. And that just really cheapens the card. Like there is no reason to have an 81 overall card other than to turn into a set that you can then just make a whatever card you want, right? Like, I understand why it's in place, why they have that ability, because the foundation of the game is just poorly built. Like, there's no other way to do it. So all these 81s, they have no value to me. They have some with the team builder sets, and we're going to get to that in a second. But other than that, when you pull an 81, it's really just a, for an event set. Even when you pull higher. So, for example, I pulled this 92 Ekblad and Line, and all I'm going to do is turn those into, they're untradeable. I'm going to turn those into event collectibles in the future for another event. But, like, that's just lame. I don't want to do that. I want to be excited whenever I pull any card and for it to have individual value. And the only way that's going to happen is if they remove the economy system that's in NHL right now and go to one central one, which is just coins. All right, next, I want to see a huge change to upgradable cards. So this year they introduced X Factors. Well, I think that they're a okay addition to the game. Again, there's no innovation to them. They are literally just a copy from Madden. And I do think that they are nice for players that spend a lot of money in the game, because no matter what, at the beginning of the year, if you spent money, you will have a good card as you continue to upgrade them. And it does allow players that are free to play to upgrade at their own pace, but the cost is just absolutely insane when you get up to the higher tiers. Like, to get to a 95, it's going to cost you about 5 power-up collectibles, which is about 125,000 coins, or like spend 120,000 coins. Like, it's just an absurd cost for anyone that doesn't play the game, day in, day out. And I would love to see that changed, because what I think and how I think upgradable cards should be, because this is truly the best change to Hockey Ultimate Team from 21 to 22, is this upgradable tier system. So how I think it should work is, let's say you start out and you packed or you got the 77 Leon Draisaitl. For him to go to an 80 overall, which is worth 500 coins, he needs to get 3 points in squad battles on Superstar or maybe Pro or All-Star and above. Another option would be online only. Okay, some other ways, again, offline could be up for debate. I would love to hear your ideas on it, because I think online would lead to cheesing, and sure enough, that's fine. But again, if you want to play the game like that just to get the higher cards, okay, because at least you're grinding and getting something for your time. That being said, another option would be scoring goals online, that kind of thing. Like, to get to 82 overall, he's got to score 5 goals online in the squad battles, in Hut Champs, in Rivals, something like that. As you keep going, you upgrade these tiers. Same with event cards. So the event cards have come out, and it costs individual event collectibles, which is just a really bad system. Like, again, I think that they're just complicating things in terms of, the market and how you upgrade cards. So let's say you get this Marian Hossa 86 overall, all right? To upgrade him, you've got to score and get points, or have him in your lineup. You get experience, or whatever you want to call it, for having him in your lineup. But scoring goals, you get a drastic increase. Getting points, you get a drastic increase. Let's say power plays, you get a drastic increase. Hits, blocks, anything that the game can track, it does add to his XP, and then you can upgrade your tiers like that. And if you really wanted to, you could keep the coin cost in there, because then, again, if someone wants to skip that and not spend all the time grinding up your cards, you can allow them just to pay with coins. I don't think it's worth it, but it allows people to just play the game, and it really adds some individuality to actually the player. Like, if you have to score specifically with Marian Hossa, let's say, you're going to focus on that player and have a more, have a bigger tie to that card, other than just, oh, here's a 95 overall card. One of the biggest things that this would do is it would really increase the value in X Factors and icons, for example. So let's take Alex DeBrincat, for example, right? 74 overall. Obviously, there's none up. Of course there isn't. Let's take any of these cards. Let's say Braden Point. Let's see if there's a Braden Point up in the auction house right now. Okay, 32,000 coins for this Braden Point. There's no way that one of these cards should be this low in the game. Now, what this new system would do is it would prop the value of these cards way up, because all you've got to do is play the game with them. There isn't a huge cost that that you're going to have to input to actually upgrade these cards. Like, no one is going to spend all these collectibles to get Braden Point to 90. However, if you liked Braden Point and you didn't want to spend all these coins and you're free to play, you could have him on your first line and play a bunch of games with him to increase his, his overall. I just think that's the best way to do it. Again, I think the synergies and abilities and all that, that's fine. It would also be cool to see, at a certain point, allow you to select abilities. I think that's another big addition that I would love to see, where maybe you don't like puck on a string with Braden Point, so you can add Big Rig or something like that. Again, it would have to be balanced, but they should know how the meta is and how the game plays that make that pretty fair and even. Next, I can't believe I'm saying this in 2022, but there needs to be a leaderboard in Rivals. It is currently the only way to play online during the week that isn't a super competitive mode like Hut Champs, and there is no leaderboard. There is no way to find out how you are actually performing over the course of a year against your peers. You have no idea, other than the arbitrary rank and point system that you have, and that really doesn't matter, especially in 22, because the matchmaking glitch has Division 1 guys playing Division 8 guys and just constantly doing it over and over again. So I think that it's just unbelievable that there is no leaderboard in this game. It also gives you a sense of pride and a reason why to win games, because one of the biggest problems with Rivals is there's just no need to feel like you need to win. You get points for losing too. It's just a really bad system that I would love to see change, and a leaderboard does add a lot to it. Same thing with Hut Champs. I would love to see a Hut Champs leaderboard that goes for the course of the entire year, not just 1 week. I would love to see how people perform cumulatively over the season. Give more recognition to the top-end players of this game, and, you can see year over year how you improve. You have no idea. Unless you don't play squad battles at all, like you've done no offline games, the only way to see how you're doing is by going to this screen and then seeing your record overall, right? Like that's it. But it really isn't a true thing because it includes your offline games as well. So I hope that changes sooner rather than later. Big change I would love to see in Hut Champs is an overall cap. So in MLB, if you play Battle Royale or the events, which would be the old comp seasons comparison from NHL, there is essentially an overall of your team. So let's take mine, for example. Okay, obviously my team up at the top right is a 91 overall, and it's gigantic, right? Now, obviously it's skewed because my goaltender is a 60 overall, and that needs to be taken into account. But they can have a system where your backup goalie, because he doesn't play and he has no point other than synergies, to just not be included in the overall. And if that was the case, I would basically have a 99 overall team. So what I would have to do is, let's say at this stage of the game, or no, let's take launch, for example. So there's very few cards over 90, if any, all right? Let's say the overall max is 85, okay? So while you can have cards that are higher than over 85 overall, you can have base McDavid at 89, that's fine, but then that means you have to take some hits on your third and fourth lines, okay? It's going to add a ton of creativity to building your lineups for the most competitive mode. It keeps things very even, and it really makes you pay attention to what cards you want to put into your lineup and what ones you want to invest in if you are a top-end competitive player. I think that Rivals, you should use whatever cards you want. Same with Squad Battles, all of that. But for the most competitive mode in the game, I would love to see some more, evenness in terms of the cards that you've got. Because what you have now is people, maybe you might be one of the best players in the world, but you go to university and you can't play 50 hours a week and you don't have money to pump thousands of dollars into this game. They should be able to be on the same level or close to it when it comes to the most competitive mode. Again, that's just my opinion. I would love to hear what your thoughts are on that. All right, let's talk about Hut Rush. So they added Hut Rush, I believe, last year, and I will say this, it has grown on me. I don't play it personally, but I do think it has a lot of value for the community, okay? It offers you instant rewards, which I love, and I would love to see this in every mode, like Rivals and Squad Battles. I don't know why, without a leaderboard, that there's any reason why they have to wait a whole day, but I would love to see, more of that. I do like this system. What I can't stand is that we've got the actual events that we need to play, some are with silver players. Like, this is supposed to be an arcade mode. It's supposed to be fun. It's supposed to be quick. Don't make it realistic at all. Don't make us have little fun with it. Here is what I would do for changes to Hut Rush. I would make it, some weeks you have anyone, the player pool that you choose in your draft, they're all over 6'3" and they all have truculence and hitting is jacked up to 99. I would love that. That's just hilarious. And maybe it's hits that you've got to get, like win games and get 50 hits, overall. Like, that's how it should be. Other games, everyone has wheels, 99 speed. You draft from players that all have those, stats. I think that would be just a super amount of fun. Not to mention, allow us to play with our friends. I don't understand how Hut Rush is in the game and we can't play and invite our buddies in to actually play with these, to play with other opponents and with our friends. I don't get why. It's an arcade mode. One of the reasons why Hut Rush was introduced into Hut is because it was meant to kind of bridge the gap between World of Chell players and get them into Hockey Ultimate Team by playing a World of Chell style of game. But you can't even play with your friends. So I really don't understand that at all. I would love a shootout mode some weeks. Like, there is an infinite amount of things that they could do to make it just stupid arcade. A Darren Pang week where everyone's goaltender is Darren Pang. I don't get why that is. A Legends week where you get to use the best cards in the game. I just think it needs a lot more fun, and the arbitrary, pass the puck 50 times back and forth against a CPU to get the objective done is just... It's just chores. Like, that's all it is. It's not fun. So I hope to see those changes to Hut Rush. I think it could be a really, really fun mode. All right, let's talk about guaranteed rewards. This is probably the biggest thing that I harp on because it should be able to be done. It's not unrealistic, and it needs to happen in Hockey Ultimate Team sooner rather than later. So what I mean by guaranteed rewards is, if you think about it, the only way to guarantee a player, there really isn't any way to guarantee a player. So if you play Hut Champs, you get collectibles that you can turn into a Hut Champs player. Sure, that's technically a guaranteed player if you want, but then you have to spend a bunch of coins or power-up collectibles to upgrade that card. That is lame. What I want to see in Hut Rivals especially, okay? So you play 50 games of Rivals in a week, you get Diamond in Division 1, all right? I want to see 6 cards for that week. Let's say Rivals, I mean, this is going to go off on another tangent. I think Rivals personally should be 2 weeks long. It should be a season. It should tie into the event. It could be 1 week if the event is only 1 week. And you get specific event rewards that you can only get by playing and hitting a certain rank in Rivals, okay? So right now, the weekly rewards, they are dependent on how the rest of the player base does, meaning that Ultimate is 5% of the competition. That should not be the case. It should be, if you play and get 30,000 Rivals points, you have hit Ultimate, and you cannot go any further. And what that would allow you to do is get a choice pack, 1 for each position, of a card that is from the event, and the only way that you can get it is by playing Rivals and hitting this stage. Now, another thing would be like, well, how about the players that can't hit that level and they're not very good? Put them at a lower overall. Remember my upgrade system that I was talking about? If you hit Diamond 1, or sorry, let's say you hit Ultimate in Division 1, and the event comes out and it's, let's say, 95 overalls, Nations of Hockey, okay? You should get a 93 over, it should not be the same as the Masters, okay? You should get a 92 or 93 overall card choice pack, and it should be from different cards of this collection. So it could be like 6 separate, Nations of Hockey players that the only way you can acquire is this. A, it's a flex, and B, it's a guaranteed reward for playing this game an absolute ton. Just giving out packs is an awful way to have your community get nothing back potentially in return for all of the time they input, which is just absolutely brutal. Now, like I said, because there's divisions and different ranks, you could then, let's say you're in Division 6 and below, 5 and below even, okay? And you get Diamond or you get Ultimate. Let's say the card that you get in the choice pack you get is 87 overall. So now you've got to upgrade your card by playing with them or by spending coins if you want to upgrade to get up to the 92 and 93. That rewards players that are extremely good at the game, as well as allows players that aren't and don't have a lot of time to still get those guaranteed rewards that they can upgrade by playing with those cards. The same thing should be said for squad battles. Right now, you've got to play all your squad battles games, and you will more than likely get top 100. The problem is that it's completely random and dumb luck about your refreshes and how many top-end teams that you actually play, which is a mess. I don't think that should be the case at all. I think that, if you get into the top 100, then again, you get a guaranteed card or choice pack and then a bunch of packs, and there is a leaderboard that will show you, and maybe they get a special vanity item like a custom jersey, a banner in the arena, something to show off the fact that you have dominated and gotten so good at this game and done something that no one else not a lot of people other could. That would be a great way to show your opponent. But these arbitrary ranks are just, I can't stand. I think that they should guarantee you guaranteed rewards, right? And again, the higher up you are, the less you have to grind with that card to actually increases overall. And I think it needs to change for Hut or squad battles as well. All right, now let's talk Hut challenges. These have been the same for the last 7 years in the game. They're there just to say they're there. Their coin value is awful. It is one of the most dry, boring pieces of content among any sports game, and they're just there to say they're there. That's it. How I would love to see it is NHL moments. Now, obviously, I don't think that'll ever happen because of the resources required to develop actual individual moments, but let's say you've got master items that come out, or X factors, okay? Remember how I said that you get more XP by scoring goals and playing with that certain card? Imagine if each of those cards that are upgradable has a set of moments that you could do, tying to individual big moments in their career. And if you did them, that jumped up your XP very quickly, and it allowed you to get a bit of a head start or a huge catch-up while playing that person's individual moment. I say this all the time, but Sam Gagne's 8-point night with the Edmonton Oilers is a perfect example. Let's say there's a Sam Gagne Master Set card, and you get him at 86 overall. And instead of just playing rivals or squad battles, you want to increase his overall by 2 or 3 quickly, or by, make it challenging. Go to and do his moments. One of the moments is your player locked with Sam Gagne, and you've got to get 8 points on All-Star in a moment's Like, that is how it should 100% be. I would love to see it. Imagine goaltender ones. Like, let's say you've got the Robin Lehner, okay? You get him at 86 or 87 overall, and you can do moments where you've got a player lock as the goalie against the CPU for a couple periods, or a power play, let's say, and then it immediately ends when you complete the challenge. I mean, a guy can dream, but God, I would love that. Now, there's a lot of other things, but the last one I want to talk about is collection. All right, so I mentioned getting rid of the current economy where you get an 81 overall card and is basically just turned into sets or maybe team builders. What I would love to see is every bronze and silver card have value, and here is how that would work. All right, so let's take, easy for me because I am a diehard Ice Dogs fan. I'm from Niagara. They are my favorite. Outside of the Sharks, my favorite team. All right, so let's take the Niagara Ice Dogs, for example. You collect all of the base Niagara Ice Dog players, okay? Now, what that would do gives you an 85 overall Dougie Hamilton Ice Dog card, or maybe an 85 overall Pietrangelo card. And again, you can upgrade those cards by playing with them. That gives you a sick flex card. It increases the value of these silvers and bronzes through the roof. And every time you pull a card, no matter what it is, it has exponential value. Now, when you cash these in, it locks them in, just like an MLB. You can't then sell them off, right? So the same thing could happen with Team Builders, which it does, right? So Team Builders was a great addition to the game. But again, I would just love to see them expand upon it. And my fear is that every time they add something to the game in NHL, it's like, okay, we've added this new feature and thing in, and then they don't expand on it or create any innovation to it for the next 5 years, then it dies out and they replace it with something else. Again, so let's say that you've got to do the Team Builders and you collect all of the San Jose Sharks, all right? I would love a Patrick Marleau card. Comes in 85 that you can upgrade. I just think that system needs to be implemented, and it would just add so much value and replayability to HUT. Right now, guys, you log on, you play your rivals games, and you don't enjoy them because matchmaking is so broken, and there's 4 separate consoles. You get Division 1 Ultimate, and you get a bunch of packs that you don't pull anything in, and now you've just wasted 40 hours of your life in a week, and you didn't really enjoy it all because you wanted a chance at pulling something cool, and more often than not, you don't. So I would love to hear your comments, guys. I do think this game has a lot of potential, and again, I don't want to harp on the developers. I understand in the background how difficult it is to implement any of these changes, and it is not like they're lazy. They have got to develop a new game every single year in 8 months. If you look in the gaming industry outside of sports games, that's unheard of. And when you consider that NHL is the 4th biggest professional sport in North America, it's understood why their resources are much less than Madden and FIFA. I hate it, but I hope that some of these changes get implemented. Let me know if you think any of these are good or if you don't like them, and let me know in the comments section, and be sure to subscribe, guys. I'll see you next time. Have a good one.